are the best. The Integrity Station. Splash, splash.
105.5.
Splash FM 105.5.
When the clock ticks at 6:30, you know it's time for the morning scoop from the National Daily.
Tune in, listen, form opinions, be an active citizen, and stay abreast of happenings in Nigeria and beyond. But never forget where you heard it first. Straight from the dailies on Splash 105.5 FM.
To you, a very good morning and welcome to Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station, on a brand new Thursday morning, 6th day of April 2023. The time is 6:32. We are excited to be coming to you this morning. We thank God for life and the ability to do this, start out a new day with you. It's something to be happy and grateful about, and I am. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Jerome. This is the Morning Splash. For Thursday morning. You know, that's how it goes, right? Every Thursday, I get to do this dance with you, and I always look forward to it. So today promises to be interesting as always. There's a lot of the news to talk about. That's what we do, after all. Talk about what is in the news, starting out straight from the dailies with the papers, and then expanding the conversation at 8 o'clock with a segment that we call Beyond the Surface, where we zero in on a particular topic and then hear your thoughts. Today, I have two political topics that have like a human angle aspect to it. Yeah. Well, you might have seen the letter by former President Olusegun Obasanjo to the UK, right? Pleading a case for former Deputy Senate President Ike Koremadou. We'll be talking about that in detail at 8 a.m. And the recent crisis that has enveloped LP presidential candidates, Peter Obi. A lot of you had something to say about that leaked audio. Now he has responded. We'll be taking a look at his response at 8 o'clock as well. And I have a serious question to ask you about that. You know, it really is about your assessment of the way that Obi has handled himself in the light of all the different allegations, particularly the one from the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, where he says Obi is trying to instigate insurrection in Nigeria by urging his followers to, you know, go on rampage. So I guess the big question then will be, how would you assess Obi's comportment, not just after the elections, when it was declared that he didn't win, but in the whole electioneering period? Does it tally with what Lai Mohammed says? He is, you know, basically an insurrectionist trying to instigate violence. Or do you have a contrary opinion? That's for 8 o'clock. Please, let's not start talking about it now, right? There's plenty for us to talk about now. Let's leave that for 8 o'clock. Obasanjo's letter and Peter Obi's response to the viral audio that was leaked. and all the other updates around that. It promises to be, oh my goodness, I'm itching to hear what your comments will be for these two issues, because I know that they are very hot, burning issues right now, and people are opinionated on these. So we'll have our chance to talk about this on the show this morning, right? Okay, so perhaps you want to start thinking and, analyzing it in your head, where you stand, what you think, going back and, checking all the things that have happened in the past and seeing where your opinion comes up to. It'll be interesting to hear. For now, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the Vanguard newspaper, the Sun, Punch, Daily Trust. So help me God. I mean, I have all these newspapers, and I'm hoping that we have the time to cover all of them. Please be reminded that we're live on Facebook. You can engage with that live video by liking, sharing, leaving your comments. Let me know what your thoughts are on the headlines that I will be sharing with you this morning as we start. So, this first story that I'm about to share is arguably one of the biggest stories today. Yes. Well, wait until you hear it. For those who are news people, they probably already have. But for those who do not, well, here is what the headline reads from the Daily Trust newspaper. Subsidy removal. Federal government secures $800 million from World Bank as palliatives for poor Nigerians. Let's get to the details. The federal government has secured the sum of $800 million from the World Bank under the National Social Investment Program as part of palliatives to cushion the negative effects of the plan to remove subsidy on the petroleum products by June of 2023. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, announced this while fielding questions from State House correspondents after the FEC meeting. She said the fund, which has been secured, was ready for disbursement. Now, let me get to the part where she speaks and quote her words to you. She said, "We're on course. We're having different stakeholder engagements. We've secured some funding from the World Bank. That is the first tranche of palliatives that will enable us give cash transfers to the most vulnerable in our society that have now been registered in a national social register. Today, that register has a list of 10 million households. 10 million households are equivalent to about 50 million Nigerians. But we also have to raise more resources to enable us do more than just the cash transfers, and also in our engagements with various stakeholders, the various kinds of tasks that we have go beyond the requirement of just giving cash transfers." She says Labour, for example, might be looking for mass transit for its members. So there are several things that we're still planning and working on. We can start executing quickly. Some are more medium-term implementation. End of quote. So they've got $800 million. They say it's a grant. A grant means that it's not something they would have to pay back. It's more like free money from the World Bank, and that they are going to disburse this $800 million as physical cash to vulnerable Nigerians. They say this is the first part of the palliatives that Nigerians will enjoy, at least the very, very vulnerable Nigerians will enjoy because of the effects that might come with the removal of fuel subsidy, which is just months away. So how would you rate this proposition? Vulnerable Nigerians getting cash transfers. $800 million to go. Do you have the confidence that these monies will get to these vulnerable Nigerians? I mean, we know how the conversations usually go when we talk about the federal government's National Social Investment Programs, particularly the distribution of cash. A lot of people have the opinion that these monies usually don't reach the intended recipients. Do you think this is going to be any different? And what do you think about creation of mass transit for Labour as like second tier plan, sort of. It seems like giving out cash is like frontal for them, and then any other thing is extra. How would you assess this whole proposition by the federal government in terms of palliatives for fuel subsidy removal? I'm interested in hearing what you think about this and how the government is willing to spend this money. Do you agree with where this money is going to? Let me know when the phone lines open. But basically, that story is on every newspaper this morning. There's a version out for you everywhere. And the OB story too, well, the same. He put out tweets yesterday, so everybody's carrying this story as well. I did say we were talking about it at 8, but let me give you just a bit of what some newspapers are reporting. The Daily Trust, for instance, says Obi denies leaked audio, says he's under pressure to go on exile. So the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, has denied describing the 2023 elections as a religious war, saying he is under pressure to go on exile. In an audio leaked over the weekend, Obi was heard telling Bishop David Oyedepo, founder of Living Faith Church Worldwide, to help him canvass votes of Christians. He also said the election was a religious war and he needed the help of the influential man of God to get through to the Southwest and Kwara State. But in a series of tweets on Wednesday night, Obi denied the conversation and said he would take legal action against People's Gazette, which is the online platform that first released the audio. Now, I'm going to bring details when we talk about this at 8. Let me just leave it here, so that we don't spit on it too much. But really, that's the crux of the issue. Obi's response. The biggest part of what he said is that the video was fake. He never said there was a religious war, and he's always been peaceful in his comportment before, during, and after the presidential elections. I wonder what you think about him saying he's under pressure to go on exile. Anyway, still on the Obi issue, there's another headline here that has to do with that. Anger as Reno Omokri calls for Peter Obi's arrest. So Reno Omokri, a frontline campaigner for the Atiku Okowa presidency, has asked the federal government to go after Peter Obi, Labour Party presidential candidate, if he makes treasonable statements. Omokri made the call in a tweet on Wednesday. He was reacting to a warning on Tuesday by the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, that Obi and his running mate, Dati Baba Ahmed, risked being prosecuted for treason over some of their utterances on the February 25th presidential election. Mohammed said Obi and his running mate were inciting people to violence over the outcome of the poll. Well, you would recall also that the NBC, the National Broadcasting Commission, had also fined Channels Television 5 million naira for allegedly violating the NBC code in a program with Baba Ahmed. The Minister of Information, who is in Washington to engage with international media organizations and think tanks on the just concluded 2023 polls, such as Washington Post, Voice of America, etc., said it was wrong for Obi on one breath to seek redress in court over the outcome of the polls, and on another breath incite people to violence. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Court bars Abure from parading self as Labour Party chairman. It seems like there's a crisis, like seriously pursuing all the political parties. If you've been following the APC, then you probably heard that they are dealing, the National Working Committee is in some sort of crisis, financial crisis now, over monies that were raised during the sale of forms for the elections. The PDP, of course, has its own crisis. Just some weeks ago, the national chairman had to step aside and a new interim chairman has been appointed. Now, if the story sounds familiar, it's because it's taking almost the same look as that of the PDP, at least with the court injunction. But this time, it's the Labour Party, right? A Federal Capital Territory High Court has restrained Julius Abure from parading himself as the national chairman of the Labour Party. He was restrained alongside 3 other officials of the party over alleged forgery. The presiding judge also ordered that the originating processes of the court be served on the restrained officials. The judge held that the ex-party application for interim injunction restraining the 4 officials by aggrieved members of the Labour Party before the court has merit and then granted the same. So these people that have been asked to stop parading themselves as national chairman of the Labour Party are first the chairman, Julius Abure, the national secretary, Umar Farouk Ibrahim, the national treasurer, Oluchi Okpara, and then the national organizing secretary, Clement Ojukwu. You know, a lot of people had hope that the Labour Party, having had the kind of success it did in the past election, would become a sort of force and would maybe make the APC and the PDP a little less popular. It might gain more grounds and establish itself further and be like a huge contender for coming elections in different parts. If you held that thought, do you think squabbles like this can affect their chances? Because usually this is how it starts, and then before you know it, you hear nothing, and then they just go silent. At least until the next election cycle. But that's what's been reported on the Daily Trust newspaper. Let's take a look at the Vanguard newspaper this morning. DMO, why federal government's debt is rising as LCC others list way out. That's on the Vanguard newspaper. Organ harvesting. Obasanjo writes UK court seeks clemency for Ekweremadu wife. This, I told you, is going to be one of our major issues for 8. But again, let me give you just a little detail from this. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has written a letter to the chief clerk of the Central Criminal Court in London to temper justice with mercy over the conviction of former Deputy Senate President Senator Ike Ekweremadu and his wife. Obasanjo, in the letter dated April 3rd and addressed to the Chief Clerk, Central Criminal Court, Old Bailey, London, titled Re Ike Ekweremadu, said though Ekweremadu's actions were condemnable and unacceptable, he had contributed his quota to the social political development of Nigeria, adding that his punishment should consider his past records of good deeds and the plight of his ailing daughter. At 8, I'm going to read a part of that letter for you, just as I'll be reading the direct words of Peter Obi in the tweet that he put out, disclaiming that video is fake and washing his hands off of any plots of insurrection and anything like that. That's for 8. But, I mean, as I said, this story is everywhere. Obasanjo's letter, 2-page, I think it was, very heartfelt. There was a lot of passion and emotion, in that letter. I wonder what you think. But let's move to other stories. Okay. 10th National Assembly. We have majority to checkmate APC, opposition parties say. I find this interesting, and I'm going to give you the details. Perhaps you would find it as interesting also. So, the Vanguard is reporting that ahead of the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly in June, members-elect of the House of Representatives from the opposition political parties under the umbrella of Minority Caucus have vowed to forge a common front to protect their interests. Describing themselves as the greater majority in the incoming House, the caucus also assured it would checkmate the ruling party and deepen democracy. It would be recalled that the ruling All Progressives Congress, jostling for the speakership of the 10th House, produced 162 members-elect out of the 325 seats declared so far by INEC. The opposition, which has 5 political parties, won 163 seats across board. So, People's Democratic Party, they have 102 reps. Labour Party has 34. The Nigeria People's Party has 18. And these together say they are going to try to upstage the APC and somehow get the leadership of the National Assembly, at least the House of Representatives, at least. Do you think that politicians can be united that much to achieve success like this? Because there's always interest in the mix, right? And you hear people say all the time that with politicians, there are no friends, long-time friends or enemies. What you have is long-term interest. So do you think these majority caucus, as they call themselves, can, galvanize and do what they say they would? Because the Punch newspaper has it in a different way, and it's like the big headline on the Punch. It says, new House leadership, opposition reps elect plot to upstage APC. You think they have it in them to do this? Well, we'll take a break now. When we come back, more headlines, and then the phone lines come open for your comments. Do not forget that we're live on Facebook, and you can already start dropping your comments. I'll be taking those when we return. Stay with us.
Samsung Galaxy A series tó ti ní àfikún méjì, Samsung A34 àti A54. Àwọn aago tuntun yìí ní iṣẹ́ àti òdòdó tó rẹwà tó tà wọ́n yọ pẹ̀lú ìdáàbòbò tá a mọ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀ látọwọ́ Knox. Bákan náà, wàá gba wọn àǹkóṣe tí gbọ́rọ̀ gbórin tó o bá ra aago A34 tàbí A54. Rántí pé tí o bá ra aago A14, wàá gba ẹ̀bùn travel adapter, Bluetooth speaker tàbí Bluetooth headset. Má ṣe gbàgbé pé pẹ̀lú Samsung Flex Pay, o lè san àsanlẹ̀ $12,500 láti ní ẹ̀rọ Samsung A14, A34 tàbí A54 tirẹ̀ kó o sì san yìí tó kù díẹ̀díẹ̀ láàrin oṣù 3 sí 12. Títún àfẹ́ràn rẹ̀ ṣẹ́dẹ̀ jẹ́ $16,000 péré. Yára ṣàṣà kó tó tán lẹ̀.
Ìfẹ́ mi, ẹni lọ́jọ́ ìfúnni lábẹ́rẹ́ wa. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni, pẹ̀lú abẹ́rẹ́ aládàágún fún ìdáàbòbò ara ẹni yìí, a lè ṣeré ìfẹ́ fóṣù 3 láìsí fòyòyún àìròtẹ́lẹ̀.
Bí báwo?
Máa fa ẹran itan mi, máa sì gábẹ́rẹ́ yìí sórí itan tí mo fà. Káde máa gbádùn ara wa lọ fóṣù 3 nìyẹn.
Abẹ́rẹ́ kẹ̀, ṣé èèyàn wà nídùn ẹ̀?
Kò séwu ìfẹ́ mi, abẹ́rẹ́ tíntínní ni bí eléyìí.
Àkíkà, ó ti gun kódà ó mìíràn rárá.
Ṣé bí mo sọ fún ẹ?
Bó o bá fẹ́ lábẹ́rẹ́ aládàágún fúngbà àkọ́kọ́, lọ́dọ̀ ṣiṣẹ́ ìlera fúngbà ní níyànjú. Fàlàyé nípa àwọn ọ̀nà mìíràn láti bọ́ lọ́wọ́ oyún àìròtẹ́lẹ̀. Tẹ ẹ̀rìn èjì ọ̀kan lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ lórí Airtel. Kó o dẹ̀ tẹ ọgbọ̀n tàbí kó o lọ sórí ẹ̀rọ ayélujára discoveryourpower.org. Ìpolówó yìí wá látọwọ́ àwọn ẹgbẹ́ tó ń bójútó ìlera ẹbí, Society for Family Health, pẹ̀lú iléeṣẹ́ ìjọba àpapọ̀ tó ń bójútó ètò ìlera.
Ẹ̀yin èèyàn mi, ẹ má jẹ́ kówó náírà titun àti àìlègbówó yọ yín lẹ́nu. Hope wà lórí fóònù rẹ, ìfẹ́ ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ́gbẹ̀ta náírà wà ńlẹ̀. Torí náà, tẹ́ bá fẹ́ fowó ránṣẹ́ sí màmá ńlé àbí láti ra owó ìpè fún Àbíkẹ́ láti fún oníbàárà lówó àbí tó oníbàárà bá fẹ́ fún yín lówó.
Hope wà lórí fóònù rẹ, ìfẹ́ ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ́gbẹ̀ta náírà wà ńlẹ̀.
Èèyàn mi, nọ́mbà fóònù rẹ ní nọ́mbà káàdì ATM àti nọ́mbà àkáǹtì rẹ o.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, gbádùn ayé ìrọ̀rùn pẹ̀lú Hope Wallet. Tẹ *569*9# lórí fóònù rẹ kó o sì yan Open Wallet. Tẹ àlàyé nípa ara rẹ síbẹ̀. Ló bá tán, o ti ṣí àpò ìṣúná rẹ nìyẹn. Hope PS Bank á wá fún ẹ ní ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ́gbẹ̀ta náírà ṣáńgílítì. Hope àṣeyọrí. Hope Bank nígbà gbogbo.
Techno celebrates your natural healthy glow without hiding your imperfections with a 32MP glowing selfie camera, G88 processor plus game turbo, hard-wearing stirring glass, and a 256GB plus 16GB large memory on the new Techno Spark 10. You will enjoy better mobile experience with bigger camera, among other upgrades. That's not all. Visit any Techno outlet to get the beautiful on-demand smartphone for your selfies and walk away with a Techno X Fireboy headset, up to 5GB data from MTN, and many more gifts. Techno, stop at nothing.
Ẹ̀yin ọmọ yìí, ó máa dá àkàrà nǹkan díẹ̀ sílẹ̀ fún Ramadan yìí. Ó yá kí ni kára.
Èso. Ewébẹ̀, ẹ má gbàgbé ìṣara lóore àwọn màmá o, 3 crowns milk.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, agolo mílìkì 3 crowns mẹ́ta.
Rárá o, 6.
Ó dáa. Torí kó jẹ́ màmá, á ra agolo mílìkì 3 crowns mẹ́jọ.
Ìṣúra aláìlẹ́gbẹ́ làwọn màmá. Torí náà, fẹ̀mí ìmoore hàn sí màmá pẹ̀lú 3 crowns milk lákòókò Ramadan yìí.
3 crowns milk, ìlera àwọn màmá, ayọ̀ ẹbí.
So special to us, golden morn. So special to us. I can't afford a day without this goodness in a bowl, giving energy to make it stay golden. Golden morn. So special to us.
Samsung Galaxy A series has 2 new additions, the Samsung A34, A54. These new devices come in beautiful premium designs, colors, and of course, protected by knocks. And you get buds when you purchase either A34 or A54 device. And do not forget, you can still get a travel adapter, Bluetooth speaker, or Bluetooth headset when you buy the A14 device. And with Samsung Flex Pay, you can make 12,500 Naira down payment and pay small over 3 to 12 months installments. And screen repair is just 16,000 Naira. Hurry now while stocks last.
Splash FM 105.5.
And we are back. It's 5 minutes to 7 a.m. You're listening to Straight from the Dailies on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. My name is Charity Jerome. We are live on Facebook. It's Splash FM 105.5 Ibadan. There's a live stream. You can leave your comments. We have gone through quite a lot of headlines, actually. I have a few more before I throw open the phone lines, and I'm just going to go through them very, very quickly. First off is from the Punch newspaper. No court can grant injunction stopping president-elect inauguration. That's according to a SAN. A senior advocate of Nigeria spoke with one of Punch's correspondent on the election petitions, as well as the illegality of the call for an interim government, among other issues. And it was his opinion that there is no court in Nigeria that can grant an injunction stopping the president-elect's inauguration. That's on the Punch newspaper if you want more. Still on the Punch newspaper, court remands Lagos Ezegbo over inciting comments. The Lagos State Magistrate Court in Yaba on Wednesday ordered that the Ezegbo of Ajao Estate, Frederick Nwajagu, be remanded at the Ikoyi Correctional Center. Nwajagu was arrested last Saturday following a viral video in which he threatened to invite members of the indigenous people of Biafra to Lagos to secure properties of Igbo people living in the estate. The 67-year-old was arraigned on Wednesday before the magistrate court presided over by P.E. Waka. The police charged him with 2 counts bordering on misconduct and intention to cause a breach of peace in Lagos. Finally, still in Lagos, there was sort of like a crisis among the Okada riders yesterday and the police, and unfortunately that resulted in the death of an unidentified police officer, at least according to the cable newspaper. It reports that an unidentified police officer was killed during a clash between security operatives and commercial motorcyclists in Lagos. The cable understands that the incident happened around the Sele bus stop, Apapa Oshodi Road. It was learned that violence broke out in the area when police officers attempted to arrest some of the commercial motorcyclists, popularly called Okada. The commercial motorcyclists were said to have resisted arrest using cutlasses and other objects to attack police officers. So that's it. Phone lines are open, 0809-155-1055. We have 12 minutes on the clock from now, as I understand it. So we're going to make the best of those 12 minutes. Let me know what your thoughts are. 0809-155-1055. You can also call 0706-949-3000 or 0805-699-8678. Abiodun Falaye on Facebook says, the grant was fine, but I don't trust our leaders in terms of disbursement. North will benefit the more than any other region in the country. Let them get an economic expert to advise us on how to channel the grant into the economy, or else it will be a tough moment for us to cope if the fuel subsidy removed and the grant is not judicially used. Thank you very much. He's reacting to the 800 million naira gotten by the federal government as palliatives for fuel subsidy. So let's begin to talk to you, shall we? Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Can you speak up a bit? You sound quite faint.
Are you hearing me now?
Well, go ahead.
I think the issue is becoming unusual. I think it is high time that they are taking care of before they become another terrorist in our country. Then the NOP, he has to be claim that he has security reason to do what he's doing now.
Comrade, your line it's not clear, really. I can hardly hear what you are saying. Plus, we're really talking about Obi at 8 o'clock. So let me advise that we keep comments on Obi and on Obasanjo's letter to 8 a.m., right? Beyond the Surface is going to be all about that. Right? Thank you very much. Olowo to look where Timitokwe says, Obi's running mate comments during Channels TV interview is unacceptable. He should be invited. However, I have mixed feelings because MC Oluomo was not invited. It will appear as double standards. Okay. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, this is Ayikoto. I'm calling from Minara.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. Whatever comment that might be made from Obi to be taken by Nigerians as a statement that was spoken out of anger. Assuming it was Obi that was announced as the winner of the election.
Ayikoto, we're talking about Obi at 8 o'clock. Can you hear me?
In this country. Hello?
We're talking about Obi at 8.
Yes.
Yes.
Assuming Obi that was announced that the winner of the presidential election, I know the worst will have happened in this country. Nobody would take it easy like that. Nigeria just need to know that everything said by Obi is out of anger. It's not be taken serious. Nothing will happen in May 29. No interim government. Because Nigeria has come to stay under democracy and we are going to move forward. By God grace. Good morning.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Ajibaki Abiodun says Nigeria doesn't need interim government. Rather, we need to swerve forward and support the democratic elected president and move on to a developed and new Nigeria. Obi's running mate should take it lightly. Leadership is not by do or die, rather by democratic means. Go to court if you are not satisfied, he says. Okay, thanks. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Jerome.
Hi, Mr. Charles. Welcome.
Yeah, that's okay. Yes. On that grant, I would have preferred the federal government to direct it in the direction of how petroleum products, to increase the refining capacity of the petroleum products. Yes, because if you say you want to buy mass transit for workers, it's the only workers we have in Nigeria. And if you say you want to give cash to families, how many families we have access to that cash?
They said 10 million households. That's about 50 million Nigerians, according to them.
We have close to 300 million Nigerians, so they cannot go around. So it is better for the government to direct it, because the permanent solution is for us to increase the refining capacity in the country. That's the permanent solution. And secondly, on that statement credited to that lawyer that the court
no court. Yes.
To stop. I don't know if it is true. It brings me to the argument I made one time that I said INEC was hasty in giving the certificate of return to the president-elect and quickly rushing him to the defense house. If it is a process, that process should be reviewed. Because if a situation whereby the court cannot stop him from being sworn in, then I think it's quite unfortunate. Thank you.
Charles, thank you for always. Thanks for your comment. I've got Omo Basharu says $800 million secured funds for vulnerable people in Nigeria. My question is this: how can federal government fish out the poorest of the poor people among 200 million Nigerians? Another question: what method are they going to use for the disbursement of the fund to the targeted people? Honestly, something needs to be done with our refinery as a matter of urgency. Well, the federal government says they have a register. They have the vulnerable people register. I think there's a name that they call it. And it's based on that register that they will disburse the money. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Chacha.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Please go ahead.
Yes, they want to
Can you speak up? We can hardly hear you. Maybe you should turn off the radio.
No, the radio is not on.
Oh, there's a hollowback, a loud hollowback.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello. Go ahead. Yes. Hello. They want to distribute $800 million for 50 million Nigerians. And calculation, that is 8,000 naira each. What will that do to average Nigerian? Then they want to use 800 billion to count the rest of us. So all of these things, if you look at it, the government is just putting a lot of pressure and debt into our system because it doesn't make any sense. If they can put that into infrastructure, you don't have only workers in Nigeria, only government workers in Nigeria. 70% of Nigeria's economic is informal. So all of these things should be considered. But the government is not right thinking. But I just want to raise money. That's my...
Razak, thanks for your comments. Taiwo Sunday says, good morning, Chacha. Certainly, having greater numbers of opposition parties in the National Assembly might deepen our democracy. The leadership will still be nominated by the ruling party. Looking forward to a more robust and effective National Assembly. Taiwo, thank you very much. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Chacha.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Olushola Julius, welcome.
Olushola Julius.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Now, Chacha, the removal of fuel subsidies now is inevitable. It is what can make us to survive as a nation and make our country, our economy to come up, and normal Nigerians will be able to take care of themselves. But what is so important now, Chacha, is the process of the removal and the method of cushioning the pains on the poor Nigerians. You see, when Muhammadu Buhari administration was telling us that he has register that he is using for the poor, rest of the poor in this country. Now, how many people will be able to come out to signify that they are beneficiaries of one or two things that have been given to them as the poorest of poor in this country? Now, we during COVID, we learned that even there are some manipulations that took place because they said they spent billions of naira taking care of people in the name of palliative. But what will now give us more rest of mind and will now bring uproar in this country after the removal of subsidy is how government is going to manage it and make Nigerians feel at ease even with the removal of subsidy. The issue of power, the issue of transport and other things. So we are not against them removing subsidy because it is inevitable now. But how are they going to manage it? That's the question.
Julius, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Valid questions raised there. Ayetoma Kingsley says, good morning, Chacha. The grant for me should not be disbursed to people directly because it may not get to those that actually need it. Let the grant be channeled to building modular refineries. I do hope that those concerned are listening to all these concerns.
Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, Omar Basharu. Nice to have you here.
Thank you for reading my message on Facebook. You know, let us be frank with ourselves. How can government know the vulnerable people among the 200 million Nigerians? How can they know them?
They have been creating a register. It's not today they started.
Don't mind them. Let government stop deceiving people.
Oh, okay.
How can you know the vulnerable people? Do you know how much I have in my account?
It would surprise you that they know. Sure, you don't you have BVN?
It doesn't matter.
So they know.
No, it doesn't matter. Please, you know, look, a lot of people are vulnerable, but which government don't know. Let them create an enabling environment. That's what we are saying. It is only enabling environment that will help our youth to get to well employed. Honestly, there's a lot of error on this administration of President Muhammadu Buhari.
So when you say create enabling environment, what does that look like?
Is that what?
What does creating enabling environment look like?
Let them provide light, good road, you know, so many things like that.
The amenities. Okay.
Amenities. So that it will attract the foreigners to come and invest in Nigeria. That's what they are saying. We continue having a lot of people on unemployment.
All right.
Nice day.
You too. Thank you. Jibrin Bipe says, if a register truly does exist, I wonder when it was last updated, given that credible sources say more Nigerians are falling below poverty lines daily. I do agree with you, really. Very, very, very valid question. Final call for the morning. Hello. Good morning.
Hello, Chacha. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Today? I'm very fine. Thank you.
Yeah, this is Dr. Mark.
Hi, Dr. Mark. We have less than a minute. Can you do that in that time?
Okay, thank you. We do not learn in Nigeria. We do not learn at all. How could we have this kind of money, $800 million, and somebody is saying you want to waste it, you want to throw it away? See, this was the same thing this same woman did while they were saying they were feeding children in their homes during COVID. See, we have issues in Nigeria. Why can't this money that has been given by World Bank, why can't it be kept and allow the new administration to think about how to utilize this money to work on any of the refineries or look for modular refineries that can help to alleviate our suffering over fuel? My take is that this money should not be shared at all. This was the same way they were saying they are giving food to this, they are giving food to that. Look at how many billions that went into feeding people. And that's all the problem of Nigeria till today. Okay. Vulnerable people that you have already marked and nobody can know them. 10 million families, 50 million Nigerians, when we have over 250 million living in a nation.
All right,
who is taking this decision? Who did they consult? How can a woman be taking a decision on behalf of over 250 million people?
No, she probably didn't get to that point on her own now. There's usually FEC. And before anything comes out to Nigerians...
They did not deliberate on it.
Okay. All right,
so
Dr. Mark.
The money was given. It is the money that Nigeria will have to pay back. It's not money that one person can
it's a grant.
It's
a grant, Dr.
Dr.
Mike.
It's a grant.
Yeah.
It's a palliative, I know. But then, it should not be wasted.
Okay, great.
Allow the new administration, these people are living in the next 2 months. Allow the new administration to think on how to use this money.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mark. I gave you 2 full minutes, plus. And it was supposed to be less. My producers told me I can take 2 more calls. So, hello, good morning. Hello. Oh, I'm so sorry. Your line is very faint. I would not be able to hear that conversation if it goes on. So sorry about that. Hello.
Hello, Chacha. Good morning.
Good morning.
Wadiego on the line.
Hi, Wadiego. Welcome.
Chacha, we are getting it wrong.
We are?
2019, Obariluwan Akiolu of Lagos said any Igbo man who do not vote APC, they will carry out their case to the lagoon. DSS did not invite him. 2023, although not certain that anyone did not vote APC to be dealt with, and they carried their assignments. Police spokesman in Abuja said it was joking. Why they carry their mission? 2 of big markets in Lagos got fired by Pogri. They did not investigate it. Because of what SND said they would defend themselves, they invite the man. Until we do the needful. Yoruba said, good morning.
Thank you. So the thing with this Ezigbo is that he said they will invite IPOB. In Nigeria, at least according to this federal government, IPOB is a terrorist group and it is banned. I'm not making justifications for all the other this thing, but I feel like that's something you shouldn't do. You shouldn't do that. Anyway, thank you very much for being a part of this. We're going to expand the conversation at 8 by looking more closely at the Obasanjo letter. We didn't get to talk about that at all. And then Peter Obi's response to the audio video, to the viral audio that went everywhere a couple of days ago. Join us for that conversation. For now, we have a commercial break, and then Blessing will be here at 7:30 for Sports Bank. Thanks for listening. I'm Charity Jerome. See you at 8.
Samsung Galaxy A series tún ti ní àfikún méjì, Samsung A34 àti A54. Àwọn aago tuntun yìí ní iṣẹ́ àti òdòdó tó rẹwà tó tà wọ́n yọ pẹ̀lú ìdáàbòbò tá a mọ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀ látọwọ́ Knox. Bákan náà, wàá gba wọn àǹkóṣe tí gbọ́dọ̀ gbóni tó o bá ra aago A34 tàbí A54. Rántí pé tí o bá ra aago A14, wàá gba ẹ̀bùn travel adapter, Bluetooth speaker tàbí Bluetooth headset. Má ṣe gbàgbé pé pẹ̀lú Samsung FlexPay, o lè san àsanlẹ̀ $12,500 láti ní ẹ̀rọ Samsung A14, A34 tàbí A54 tirẹ̀ kó o sì san yìí tó kù díẹ̀díẹ̀ láàrin oṣù 3 sí 12. Títún afẹ́ràn rẹ̀ ṣẹ́dẹ̀ jẹ́ $16,000 péré. Yára ṣàṣà kó tó tán lẹ̀.
For this Naija wey we dey so, say you no hold cash no mean say wahala dey o. You wan send money to Maale for Villa? Just use Momo. You wan buy recharge card or data plus jollificate 15% bonus when you recharge? Just use Momo. You wan pay for market where you buy?